10 pounds, 12 inches tall, and responsible for more "I had no idea what I'm getting into" moments than most any other breed on the planet. Nobody gets the Jack Russell Terrier right before they own one. And it's not their fault, because everything people think they know about this breed is either incomplete, exaggerated, or just flat out wrong. The myths have been running unchallenged long enough, so here are 9 lies people still believe about Jack Russell Terriers. Let's actually set the record straight. Number 1. They're easy because they're small. Small dog, small problems, easy life. That's the logic people walk in with, and Jack Russells dismantle it within the first week. The Jack Russell Terrier Club of America isn't subtle about this. They explicitly warn that many owners end up completely overwhelmed by this breed. Not occasionally, many. That's an organization dedicated to the breed, telling you up front that people routinely underestimate what they signed up for. That should be the first red flag, because here's what small actually means with a Jack Russell: a high-drive working terrier, originally bred to bolt foxes from their dens, packed into a 10-pound body with absolutely no awareness of that fact. The size did nothing to the engine. These dogs need real exercise, real structure, and real mental engagement, daily, consistently, without negotiation. Skip a few days, and the dog doesn't just get restless, it gets creative. Owners describe it the same way every time: exhausting, relentless, worth it only if you actually keep up. Small dog, full-sized commitment. Nobody mentions that part at the pet store. Number 2. A walk around the block is enough. So you got the dog. You committed to the daily walk. Noble, admirable, but completely insufficient. Here's where Jack Russell ownership gets specific, because this isn't about quantity of exercise, it's about what kind. A tired body on a mentally understimulated Jack Russell is still a problem. The PDSA describes them as quick, agile, built to chase. This is a dog whose entire genetic purpose was pursuit, tracking, and working through problems independently underground. A 15-minute loop around the neighborhood doesn't address any of that. Owners figure this out fast. The dog that just got walked is still staring at you, still wound up, still looking for something to do, because the brain never got touched. Training sessions, puzzle feeders, scent games, fetch with actual rules, these aren't bonus activities for overachieving owners. For a Jack Russell, they're basic maintenance. Think of it less like exercising a dog and more like managing a small, opinionated athlete who also needs a part-time job. The walk is the starting point. Just nobody told you how much comes after it. Number 3. They're bad dogs because they bark, dig, and destroy things. The yard is destroyed. The couch has been restructured. The neighbors have opinions now. And your Jack Russell is absolutely unbothered. It should be. Nothing it did was actually wrong. The JRTCA lists digging, barking, and scent following as straight hunting traits, not behavioral red flags. Centuries of breeding produced a dog that goes underground after prey, signals its location vocally, and follows a scent through whatever happens to be in the way. That programming doesn't switch off because you live in a suburb now. Boredom makes every single one of those traits louder and more destructive. An unstimulated Jack Russell doesn't wind down. It finds work. Scent games, dig boxes, training with actual mental load. Owners who crack this breed give the instincts somewhere to go rather than trying to eliminate them entirely. That's when the nightmare dog reputation stops making sense. The dog was always manageable. It just needs someone who understood what they were actually dealing with. Number 4. They're naturally aggressive. Bold, intense, and completely in your face about it. Sure. Naturally aggressive? That's a different accusation entirely. Jack Russells were bred to work independently, hold their ground underground, and not back down from an animal 3 times their size. That confidence is real and it's not subtle. But confidence and aggression aren't the same thing, and collapsing them into one label does a lot of damage to how people understand this breed going in. Owner experiences with Jack Russells and other dogs vary wildly. The difference almost always comes down to socialization history, how the owner manages introductions, and whether the dog's intensity ever got directed somewhere productive early on. A Jack Russell that grew up with structure and proper exposure reads completely differently than one that didn't. Reactivity shows up in this breed, no question. But reactivity with a trigger is not the same as a dog that's dangerous by nature. Calling the whole breed aggressive because some individuals are reactive is like calling every athlete violent because contact sports exist. The wiring is intense. What happens with that intensity is mostly on the humans involved. Number 5. They're impossible to train. Whoever started this rumor definitely tried to teach a Jack Russell to sit for 10 minutes straight and wondered why it stopped caring. These dogs are fast learners, like genuinely fast. The problem isn't the learning, it's that a Jack Russell decides pretty quickly whether what you're doing is worth its time. Drag a session too long, get repetitive, lose the energy, and the dog is mentally somewhere else while you're still talking. That's not stubbornness. That's a high-drive animal with a short window for boring content. Short sessions work. Variety works. Anything that feels like a game with actual stakes works. Owners who figure this out describe a dog that picks things up fast and stays engaged because the training finally matches how the brain actually operates. Make it feel like a job, and the Jack Russell is completely in. Make it feel like homework, and good luck. The impossible to train label almost always comes from someone running the wrong approach on the right dog. Same way you wouldn't teach a sprinter by making them run marathons and then conclude they can't run. Number 6. They can be trusted off-leash anywhere. A squirrel just ran past. Your Jack Russell is already gone. This conversation is over. Prey drive in this breed doesn't sit quietly in the background waiting for permission. It takes the wheel. And when it does, your recall training gets demoted to background noise. Owners with genuinely well-trained Jack Russells will tell you the same thing. Perfect in the park, completely unreachable the second something bolts across the field. No, they're not blowing you off. It's just that every instinct it has is suddenly screaming at full volume. And your voice isn't winning that competition. One rabbit, one squirrel, heck, even a pigeon making a weird move. That's the margin. Experienced owners don't gamble with it. They use long lines, stick to fenced areas, and get very honest with themselves about which environments are actually safe versus which ones just feel safe until they aren't. Off-leash freedom with the Jack Russell is real, but it's conditional. Specific places, specific situations, specific levels of distraction. Number 7. They're perfect beginner dogs. Someone at a pet store said this with a straight face, and a lot of people believed them. Jack Russells are small, cute, and have personality that fills a room. On paper, the appeal makes complete sense. In practice, you're looking at a breed that regularly overwhelms people who have owned dogs before. Not beginners, experienced owners. That's the bar this dog clears on a bad week. The issues stack fast when you don't see them coming. Energy that needs a real outlet every single day without exception. Nipping that seemed manageable at 8 weeks and becomes a serious conversation at 8 months. Destruction that never quite resolves itself without consistent structure in place. And consistency is the part that breaks most people, because this dog finds every gap in your routine and walks straight through it. Some first-time owners nail it. They researched honestly, matched their lifestyle to the breed's actual needs, and put the daily work in. But they'd be the first to tell you it wasn't what they expected going in. Beginner-friendly implies some room for error. This breed doesn't leave much. Number 8. They need a big yard, or they can't be happy. Apartment owners with Jack Russells are reading this and laughing. The yard thing sounds logical. High-energy dog, open space, problem solved. Except a Jack Russell left alone in a massive backyard with nothing to do is just a bored dog with more room to be destructive in. Space doesn't fix the actual problem. Rather, engagement does. Owners in apartments report perfectly happy, well-adjusted Jack Russells, not because they found some workaround, but because they figured out what the dog actually needs. Daily exercise with real intensity, play that means something, training that keeps the brain occupied. Hit those marks, and the square footage of your home becomes almost irrelevant. What genuinely makes a Jack Russell miserable isn't a small living space. It's long stretches of alone time with nothing to do and nobody to do it with. A yard just makes it easier to avoid confronting that, until the dog starts redecorating the garden and you realize space was never actually the answer. A yard is a nice bonus, but it was never the point. Number 9. All Jack Russells are basically the same. One Jack Russell is watching TV on the couch right now. Another one has escaped the yard twice today and is currently in the neighbor's garden with no plans to return. Same breed, completely different situation. Personality, intensity, reactivity, coat, size, tolerance for other animals. The variation inside this breed catches people off guard. The working terrier foundation is consistent, but how it shows up from dog to dog depends on breeding, early experience, and individual temperament. Some thrive in apartments with the right routine. Others need serious space and a full-time commitment just to stay manageable. Some are adaptable and social. Others have made firm decisions about other pets and aren't open to feedback. I Want a Jack Russell is just the beginning of the conversation. The specific dog, its lineage, its particular intensity, that's what you're actually living with. Pick wrong, and no amount of enthusiasm fixes it. Hey, if you enjoyed this, you'll probably love this video here. And if you hit subscribe, I'll donate a meal to a rescue dog on your behalf.